and welcome to the webinar series hosted by Happiest Health as part of the Women's Wellness Summit 2024. I'm Dipali Malia and I will be your host for today's session on work-life balance for women. This webinar is supported by Kinder Hospital, Bengaluru. Ahead of the International Women's Day, various global organizations such as the House of Lords, UK, are prepping the world to discuss the inclusion of women and inspiring the world to walk towards the inclusion of women in various domains like work, health, food security, environment, education, and so many more. Women juggle between their careers, family, commitments, and work commitments around the clock. The balance between these responsibilities is no less than a Herculean task that women pull off so seamlessly day in and day out. We discuss more of this in the Happiest Health Summit that is going to come on the March 16, 2024. Happiest Her. This is how we call the Happiest Health Summit, the Women's Wellness Summit held on March 16, 2024 at St. John's Auditorium, Bengaluru from 9 a.m. To know more about this summit, please log on to www.happiesthealth.com and register now for the summit. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have a special coupon code for the Happiest Her Women's Wellness Summit held on March 16, 2024. It's valid only for today. We want all our viewers and participants to register for this summit. And the coupon code is 100HH, 100HH. And the validity is only till today. So hurry up and please register. Moving on to today's webinar. We have with us an esteemed panel of experts who will help us understand the various facets of work-life balance for women. First up, we have with us Dr. Aruna Muralidhar. She's the Senior Consultant, Obstetrics and Gynecology, Cloudnine Hospitals, Bengaluru. She's the author of the book titled 9 Months, The Journey of a Lifetime. She has more than 2 decades of experience in the India and UK, and her area of expertise include high-risk pregnancy, maternal medicine, obstetrics critical care, and perinatal mental health, and many, many more. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. Happy
Thank
Women's
you,
Day
Dr.
to all
Aruna.
of you.
And up next, our next panel member, Ms. Prachi Pendulkar. She's the founder of Snugbub, a support community for mothers in Bengaluru. She's a sleep coach and a lactation consultant. She's an acclaimed country's first pediatric sleep coach. She's an educator of baby clothing, an infant massage trainer, and an author. A staunch advocate of maternity and women empowerment, Ms. Pendulkar believes early parenting practices leaves a very strong and long-term impact on shaping children and their growth. Since 2016, her work with families strives to create that conscious, collective consciousness towards how we look at parenting and how we raise our children. She strongly believes in a holistic care when it comes to parenting. Without much ado, I welcome Ms. Prachi Pendulkar to this session on work-life balance in women.
Thank you so much. Happy Women's Day to all.
Our next panel member is Dr. Yasmin Imdad. She's a senior consultant, obstetrics and gynecology at Kinder Hospital, Bengaluru. A career of over 2 decades, and she has an expertise in high-risk pregnancy, infertility evaluation and treatment for PCOD, PCOS, just to name a few. Without much ado, I welcome you, ma'am. Dr. Yasmin Imdad, we welcome you.
Thank you so much. Wish you all a very happy Women's Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. To begin our discussion, I now request the audience to post your questions in the chat box as we go on with the discussion, and we will take up these questions towards the end of the seminar. Let me first go to Dr. Aruna. So, ma'am, in your career as a gynecologist spanning almost 2 decades, What has been your observation on the challenges that women face in maintaining their work-life balance?
Absolutely, fantastic question. In fact, from the time you've told me about this topic, I've been putting in a lot of thought, because although I see them day in, day out, I was just trying to, formally structure it together and put it out there in a reasonably, understandable way. We all know that challenges are building up. It's not like, a few years, 30 years back or 20 years back, where mums would be, sort of homemakers. They look after their children, make sure the family is well fed, and that's about the jobs they would have. We are complicating lives for ourselves, right? I mean, not only is the work and the family pressure building up, but also the commutes, the nuclear families, and on top of everything else comes the environment, the pollutants, the adulteration, and so many other endocrine disruptors which are causing havoc in our hormonal systems, right? So it's not being easy, and women trying to climb up the career ladder with so many challenges, with so many gender biases, and so
Yes.
many, even to the extent of sexual harassment and stuff. They're trying to their best to climb up career ladders, and having to do that, they have to give up a lot on that personal fronts, and with that come relationship problems, marital discord, family discord, mother-in-laws and family not liking the way this woman is trying to sort of fiercely go ahead in her own career, and with that, fertility and reproduction take a back seat. So I'm seeing a lot of women who are in late 30s, even early 40s. In the last sort of 2 years, I've delivered 40 to 45-year-olds, at least about 10 of them, right? They just think that fertility can be less of a priority for now, right? But with that come a lot of challenges with fertility itself, with first of all getting pregnant, and the pregnancies itself being so much more complicated than when they would be pregnant at, say, in the 20s, right? So late pregnancies, and on the other end of the spectrum you have adolescents who are having earlier sort of menarche, which is the first period. I'm having girls who are having their first periods in the tender age of 9 and 10, when they really don't know how to look after their bodies, and parents are finding that a very challenging situation. Then come the hormonal disruptors, the PCOS. We don't know what is disrupting hormones, whether it's the microplastics or the environment, the pollutants, or just the stress of everything else building up. But these young girls are having to have hormonal, sort of face hormonal disorders. PCOS is on the rise, 30 to 40%, which is a huge number in our adolescent population. And then we have the other extreme, where you have either early menopause, that is less than 40 years olds are already having menopause or having very low fertility, or the ones who are having very late menopause beyond 50s and 55s. So there's so many challenges building up, and having to wear these multiple responsibility, the hats, and having to discard them at the, literally at the drop of a hat. A woman cannot do that. I mean, for example, I being an obstetrician with 20 plus years of experience, I myself have had to face situations where I have to hold on to my phone even after going home, because I don't know when the next call will come. And if I have a PTM or some sort of an evening program scheduled, I'm really sort of dreading it, because you don't know what the next call is going to be about, right? So many sacrifices along the way, having to give up family functions, having to bear the let's say the anger of people who have not been respected, or not respected, but sort of given due attention.
Let down, rather. Yeah.
Let down, a lot of prioritization, and although they all realize, okay, she's a doctor, she's an obstetrician, has plenty of priorities, it does come to a certain amount of interpersonal tussle sometimes. So it's not an easy task. It's like, probably I would relate it to riding a unicycle being pulled back by something like a bulldozer, right? So you're really going against the everything that you hold dear. So yeah, but coming back to the women's health challenges, a lot of things have changed even in the last sort of 20 years. I see a lot of more thyroid, a lot more endocrine disorders, a lot more fertility issues and all that, and people are getting more and more anxious. The mental health is taking a huge hit. Nuclear families living in other cities without family support, so that is really building up and eating into their psyche and giving them a lot of negative notions. Media is not helping. Google, certainly Dr. Google is throwing out all the negativity, and it becomes very difficult in this age of information overload to actually screen the information out there and get the right kind of authentic information. So that's my take on that.
Thank you, Dr. Aruna. I think you've really begun it with a bang. Like we did talk about, you did mention about a whole, lot of aspects that women actually have to look at when it comes to challenges that they face day in, day out. Now, taking on from here, I would like to ask Ms. Prachi, in terms of, I think Dr. Aruna rightly spoke about the nuclear family, motherhood taking a toll. And you have seen, like as a lactation expert and a baby clothing educator, you must have seen so many women coming with a host of issues or rather worries, right? So as a, with regard to being a new mother, being there at a workplace, what do you think is your guidance and your expert tips to these new mothers who are probably even in a nuclear setup? And it's not easy, right? It's not really easy to don so many hats at that time when probably your mental health is also vulnerable. So what is your guidance to them in terms of handling work-life balance to these new mothers?
Right. So, as Dr. Aruna rightly said, one can feel like you're on a unicycle and a bulldozer is literally pulling you. Going back a step, even, before we think of a career, when a woman is stepping into motherhood, there are so many changes that are happening around in her body and with the baby, which the mother is not at all prepared because of the lifestyle we have today. Like,
Yes.
earlier, women would grow up looking at babies, being delivered or, growing up. And, they get a flavor of what it is like. Because, there's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. But, where's the village? Hello, like there's no village now. So the woman, unfortunately, is the whole and soul village for the child. The way things are today. So the challenge becomes, starts right from that point. So I would, a piece of advice for all the, couples out there who are wanting to plan a baby, is to first have an alignment between you as a couple as to, how do we envision this whole thing? And even educating themselves about, how the fourth trimester is going to look like. What is a normal infant behavior? Because many a times after delivery, until pregnancy, the third trimester, it seems very rosy, which is nice. But, suddenly, there are nice photo shoots happening. The mom is, is in a good, happy state, which is excellent. But as soon as the baby is delivered, it's like, oh my God, this is a different world altogether. I am responsible for a different living being. I was not prepared for this. And the whole, feeding schedule, feeding challenges to begin with. Feeding challenges, not knowing how to hold the baby confidently, not knowing, this, of course, the sleep, the baby sleep differently than adults. So have taking a time to align with how the baby is sleeping and how adults sleep, and what are the real time adjustments we need to do when, we are, when a baby is growing in the house. That itself takes out a lot of energy from, in general from the family. So I believe in 3 E's. So, which can ease the whole journey. So, educate, empower, and equip. So, educate yourselves, read, talk to people, be in, peer support groups where, you can understand what to expect, first of all. So educate. There are good quality contents available. So understand what really is expected out of me when I decide I want to be a mother, or we want to have a child. Secondly, equip. So equip yourself with whatever tools you think can ease out the journey. Rather than, oh, my baby's not latching. I don't know if my baby is getting enough milk. Have your team of experts, have your circle of support who you can go to. So, okay, I'm
Yes.
facing a problem. I have engorgement. Okay, I know where to go to. Okay, I'm suddenly feeling cramps. Probably, my wounds are, I don't know if they're healing well because I'm feeling not good. Okay, I know where to go to. So have your go-to team of experts, because that is one of the major component of your village, so to say. Empower. So have a support system. See, initially in the initial years, yes, you are going to need somebody, when you have the vision of going back to work, somebody to
Yes.
support you as an alternate caregiver, of course, with the help of spouse. So you need somebody to pitch in. It could be family members, it could be paid help. So, try to, kind of incubate
Agreed.
them, so to say, in the whole process. Then I feel, when it comes to the time when you have a vision, okay, 6 months down the line, I'm going to join work. I think journaling about it few months in advance, like what really is that factor that makes me jump out of my house and go and do my work? What is that motivation factor for me? Journaling this gives you a clear intent of why I'm doing this, and now back calculate as to what I need to do to, make it happen.
Yes.
Then you'll be able to better discuss with your family, plan out your support system, understand how many hours of absence it's going to be, what is the kind of commitment you need. So it will just help you plan better. Of course, this is just the planning part. Again, when you go to the reality, there will be ups and downs and some adjustments that need to be done, but at least it will give you that clarity, and you will be better prepared.
Preparedness. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Prachi. Now, moving on, I would like to ask Dr. Yasmin Imdad, would you like to address any common misconceptions that women believe, about a work-life balance? Do you think that there are like common misconceptions women have about work-life balance?
Yeah, actually, there are I have seen throughout, most women will have the same type of misconceptions regarding this work-life balance. So what happens is like the way we are growing, so everybody wants to have a perfect life. So we want to be perfect in our workplace. We want to be perfect in our family life, even in our personal interest also. We want to be very perfect. So we all have that image in mind, and because of that we build unnecessary pressure on ourselves. I think everybody will have little pressure because of this, and because we tend to prove we are superwomen. But it is not possible that we cannot be superwomen in every field at any point of time. So we have to give some time and space, and we have to think it is not about having everything at one time or one point of time. Sometimes there will be some issues like we have to give more time for our professions. At some other time there will be like we can give more time to family. So we have to think, yes, it's okay not to be a superwoman all the time, but we can prioritize our time, like which takes more priority now, and then later what we can do with that. Then again, also better time management, what I feel is, so we should do better time management for this one. If we plan everything like, okay, today is very important day, so I will plan my home front and I leave it to somebody else. Again, then another one very common thing what I have seen is, most of the ladies, like they are pregnant and then they will come to you, they will be like going through lots of mental issues nowadays because they are
Yes.
not able to cope with all these things. So this is a, mental well-being has become a very very common part. So what we tend to do is like, it's not that I have to do everything. The family should be also a part of it. So you have to educate
Yes.
them because they are also the new ones. The husbands won't be knowing, in-laws won't be knowing. So if you tell them that these are the like mood swings I'm going through, these are the various changes I'll be going through in this pregnancy, if they know, then they will support. So how you actually manage your scenario, that is very important. And along with then because support system is a must. Without support, what I feel is you cannot function. So you have
Absolutely.
to have a good network system. So anytime you need a help, you should be able to reach to those kind of people. So you should have a good family, support, some mates maybe. And then, so I always tell the people, apart from my gynae consultation, I will always do all this counseling also. And then they are very, very happy at the end. So this is what I am feeling. And another one, a very common issue, sometimes some women will come, they will feel very low. So what they think is that we have to sacrifice one aspect of our, like either career or family, something we have to sacrifice so that we can excel in the other part. But it is not like that again, because you don't have to sacrifice your career because you want to give your best to your children and family, or suppose you want to like excel in your career. So then it is not about sacrificing, it is about how you manage everything. So everything needs planning, proper planning, again networking, again building a support system. So I think women can do have it all, but maybe not at one time. Maybe you plan it out better, and so in phases you can give it. So that's what I feel. You should not be like there's so many challenges will be there, but you can take care of those challenges. Yeah, that's it.
So plan it well, and you can, have it all. So that's what Dr. Yasmin Imdad says. At this point, I would like to again, tell you about, we have this Happiest Her, a women's wellness summit held on March 16, 2024 at St. John's Auditorium, Bengaluru. We begin at 9 a.m. To know more about the summit, please log on to www.happiesthealth.com and register now for the summit. And you have some great news. We also have a discount on the registration for this particular summit. We have a special coupon for Happiest Her Women's Wellness Summit. The coupon code is 100HH, and the validity is till today, March 8th, 2024. So please register for the Happiest Her, a Women's Wellness Summit held at St. John's Auditorium on March 16, 2024 by Happiest Health. Moving on with this webinar today, I would like to ask Dr. Aruna, and also tell our audiences, she's not just an obstetrician and a gynecologist. We also see Dr. Aruna as somebody who's very passionate about Carnatic music, tennis, and so many other hobbies. How do you manage it all, ma'am? The hobbies, the career, the personal lives, and we would like to know from you how much of an impact it has had on achieving your work-life balance, and how do you do it?
I totally agree with Dr. Yasmin. I cannot be superwoman all the time, right? So I've had situations where I've had to cancel my music class at the last minute, annoying my music teacher, right? And I've had situations where I've had to practice during my commute. So, literally I'm driving to work and I'm practicing my little kriti, which I learned the previous week in order to make sure my teacher is not, upset with me. So it's all about, these 4 quarters of our life, right? Our family, right? Our friends, or, let's say society. We have our work, and then we have ourselves, right? You, yourself, right? So unless that little you, which is an innermost circle, is solid, right? If that innermost circle is solid, then the rest of the segments, or let's say the concentric segments, will fall into place, right? And I totally agree. I mean, the 3 E's where you empower and equip, and what was the first thing? Educate, right? So these are all, of course, always there. They're all elements that everybody needs to understand. It's always available out there. But unless your inner true self, or rather, let's say your physical, emotional, mental quotient is at the highest possible potential, it reaches its potential, everything else falls apart. So I think when we talk about these 4 things, family, friends, and work, and you, if we don't give sort of, let's say, the appropriate time for our family at the right time. For example, my eldest son is in 12th now, right? So this year, I have completely come off many of my unnecessary activities, non-urgent, non-priority activities. So for me, now the priority is this. So yes, myself, my family and my work, which I cannot, because I take patient safety and my patients as a top priority. So I cannot do anything about my work, and that's urgent and it's vital, right? So it's emergency, urgent, vital. I cannot do anything about it. But then coming to the other things that can always be rescheduled, right? So it's very important to prioritize and say, okay, this particular thing I'm going to say no to, right? So that saying no without giving into that, let's say, the temptation or the pressure is an extremely important fact. Then many a times I try to, let's say, amalgamate two things. For example, I want to, let's say, go out and meet some friends, and I know that they have children of my sort of same age as mine, then I would probably take them along, and it's sort of a friend's time as well as a family time. Or let's say there's the work meeting, right, in a different city, right? So at that time I would probably try and sort of practice my music, and because I'm off work, right? So in a different city, I'm there for a conference or something like that. Maybe I can do my swimming, I can do my travel, my shopping, and my music and hobbies, right? And most importantly, for everything, as Dr. Yasmin rightly said, and of course Prachi also has talked about it multiple times, the support system. For me, my husband, my children, my mother, who's a big pillar of support. They are, they're completely indispensable and very essential for me to function right. So when I think about a typical day, right? So my early morning sort of run, followed by getting things ready, but like obviously my mother is helping me with many of the school packing stuff and all that. So my run, and then my little meditation, and then I come to work very early in the morning. My afternoon sort of lunchtime, the break, is when I can do some of my administrative work and my blogs, and let's say even Insta posts, and preparing for a lecture which is coming up or whatever, or nurses training. And then, my evening clinic, followed by coming back and then completely dedicating to family, from 6 to 9. So I know from 6 to 9, it's just being there for the children. And of course, if they're studying, then I do my other things on the computer and things like that. My garden needs watering, so I either do it in the morning or the evening. And the weekends typically are always packed with something or the other, but I try to get given some time. So there's a very protected time that I get on a Thursday morning and a Saturday evening for looking after my house. So the garden is not let's say ignored. And housekeeping, the housekeeping, and I totally agree, paid help for sometimes once in a month the bathrooms get cleaned, the toilets get cleaned once a month, and also the maybe a little bit of fridge cleaning and this and that, because I'm obsessed with some of the organization stuff and let's say home-based stuff. So I'm a kind of a domestic goddess, but to be honest, many times I rely on paid help as well. So I think it's all about this sort of little things that can be done, not entirely multitasking, but trying to plan your day ahead. And I think it's a very important thing which I learned very recently. When you get up that morning, right, there are about 5 things that you think about. One, what is my day going to be like? Okay, what's my schedule for the day? Have I made solid plans for what I want to achieve that day, right? The third thing, at the end of the day, you think about this, did I do my best to achieve those whatever, goals that I thought of? Fourth thing, did I do my best to be happy that day? Okay. Have I done my best to be happy? Because being happy is also an active job. You can't just be happy without pursuing it. You have to pursue happiness, right? And the fifth one is, have I made 100% effort to build positive relationships around me, right? So when I answer these questions, the 5 questions, in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, I know I have been able to earn that one single deserving day of my life, right? So I think these are the things that one can think of.
So taking on from here, I think, Dr. Aruna rightly talked about the idea of happiness, right? Prioritizing and scheduling and rescheduling. So Prachi ma'am, I would like to ask you, while women balance their work and personal life, What is this role of guilt trips, and is that validated? I think being new moms, that's one thing that I keep listening to from all my friends, right? So or even other mothers who are also working. So how can women respond to these emotional upheavals, as ma'am spoke about happiness and like planning and looking forward for that happiness? I would want you to answer this question on the emotional upheavals and guilt trips.
Right. So, no matter what you do, right? Whether you want to, whether you have a career, whether you're working, whether you are a stay-at-home mom, no matter what role you choose for yourself, every mother at some point of time goes into this trap of feeling guilty. Okay, it could be simple things like, oh, I'm giving my child same rice dal thing, like same. I'm not changing the menu for like I'm not giving exotic some things to my child. From there to, oh, I'm spending only 1 hour with my child. Oh, I'm so no matter what you do, unless you're clear, you will always end up in this vicious cycle of feeling guilt, and then it becomes a catch-up game. Like, oh, this is not happening. Okay, let me change this. Once you change the circumstance, again you feel, oh, now that I've changed this, I'm not getting any me time. So this is, a continuous cycle, and it's important you break it. Again, coming down to the basics, as Dr. Aruna said, happiness. We all strive for happiness. That's the baseline. So if we look at it from an Indic point of view, it is presented in 5. It's called Panchakosha, which is Annamay Kosha, Manomay Kosha, Pranamay Kosha, Vijnanamay Kosha, and Anandamay Kosha. If you chalk out something to feed all these koshas, it is a sure shot solution that you will be happy. So, just to brief in a couple of lines, Annamay is basically your physical body. Manomay is your mind. Pranamay is, taking care, like breath, infusing prana in yourself, breath. Or it could be sports, or it could be any sort of physical exercise. Vijnanamay kosha is, challenging your brain. It could be a work, it could be study, it could be research. Anandamay kosha is doing like dance, music, something art related, which can really, make you feel alive. So,
Yeah.
if what I feel, is a short formula. In your 20, it all comes down to how each person spends those 24 hours in a day, frankly. So again, sit down, think of what really makes you happy. What do you want to prioritize, as everybody said? Make a list of your priorities, make a list of your non-negotiables. Like, okay, this is something I cannot tolerate. This is something I need to have for my mental peace. So when you make a list of your priorities and your non-negotiables, you already have a broad framework. For example, no, watching TV and eating is one of my non-negotiables. So this way you are building a framework for your family. Of course, you will have to work with the primary caregivers of the child as well. And then chalk out a broad, okay, 2 hours I'm going to spend with my child after I'm back from work. And again, co-create. So here, this is where I feel, working together as a team, rather than looking at it, oh, I am the provider, I am the, I'm the entertainer for the child. I am, so instead of taking such kind of a response, or, looking at this way, when you look at it as, hey, we are a unit, we all are here to, grow together. And this is how we can support each other and help each other feel happy and grow together. So when you change your perspective a bit, you are able to accommodate and support everybody in this process.
Correct.
So everybody's needs are met. At the same time, whatever your little wants are also get fulfilled. So this is something which I feel. So this will help you cut off from that cycle of feeling guilty all the time. So, for example, if you feel I'm spending very less time with my child. Okay, before going to the school, can we, together as a family go for a run? Or, so this way you are finding those moments, those pockets of moments where you are doing things together, which are also helping you connect. And at the same time, they're giving you what you need. It could be the physical exercise. It could be, connect. Or, okay, before going to bed, we are going to read a book. So again, the emotional connect. So rather than looking at the quantity of time spent, focusing on the quality. I feel will do wonders. So whether you are a stay-at-home mom or whatever your job profile be, if you sort of chalk these things out, things become much more easier.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prachi ma'am. Now moving on to Dr. Yasmin Imdad. Again, taking on from here, as Prachi spoke about the Panchakoshas. I would like to ask you in terms of women, whether it's a stay-at-home mom or a working woman, how important it is for any woman to have a hobby or passion and pursue it, as regularly as possible. Does it really help her? I would like to know your take on it.
Yes, as Prachi has mentioned, actually, yes, it is very, very important. Like, see, we have so many things around, but everybody will be like different. So now hobby plays a very, very important role. Okay, what I feel is like basically hobby. It should not be like, it's not like something it has to be very big. Only then it is a hobby. So hobby can be anything which gives us like happiness, which we like doing. So what happens is like if you do something which you like and really put your heart and soul into it, what I feel is it gives a good out. It is a good outlet for relaxation for you. So then what happens? It gives you a little empowerment over there. So you feel satisfied, you feel confident. At least you are doing something which you are liking, and then it increases your creativity as well. So it helps in your personal development, which in turn I think somehow if you feel good personally, you will be more like empowered professionally as well. So, and another one thing, suppose you have a good hobby, like you have to network. Usually most of the hobbies will involve like you have to network with people. So then it gives a good network opportunities for you in your career field as well. So that is why hobbies play a very role. And I have seen most people with hobbies, if they are truly into that, if it will like hasten that they, like your process of depression, they will be less depressed. Actually they will be more happy, and it can actually delay the process onset of dementia and all those things also. So now what I want to say, suppose like you have a hobby and then you do something which you like, and something there's some things which you need to do in life. Like I what used to do, my job schedule is always busy, so I don't have time for that. But I like talking with friends. Means I have one, two close friends, so I like talking. Some people will say that, "Oh, why do you talk?" I said, "No, it's okay. I like that because it gives me the like release."
Yeah.
So what I used to do, I used to talk with my friend, and both of us we used to go for running. So at the
Wow.
same time, we used to do running also, and then first we'll finish the running part, then we'll sit and we'll talk for some time. So for me, it gave me rejuvenation, like in all aspects. So that gave me a boost again next day. So I can work like with full vigor again. So hobby can be anything. Suppose you want to rest, have your own time yourself. That is also fine. So that also you can do. But it is always a good idea to do something which you really like. Everybody should have some hobby, and that will empower women. Usually it is like this only. So it's very important to have a hobby.
You. Thank you so much, Dr. Yasmin. So now moving on, we understand that, we understand, or we've heard so much and read so much about your lucrative work profiles, your enduring passion, and the kind of, finesse with which you manage your work. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I think we missed out on small. Yeah. So I was talking about how impressive are your profiles with regard to your work, your achievements at work, and also the impressive way with which you manage your work-life balance. So to all the panelists, my next question would be, would you like to share some of your insights quickly into your journey with the work-life balance, like how you maintain it? I know Dr. Aruna has given a sneak peek into her, like work-life balance, how she does it. I would like to start off with Dr. Yasmin Imdad, probably, and then Prachi ma'am, with regard to how you manage your, like work, life, and what kind of passions do you pursue, and how do you manage all these? Dr. Yasmin, over to you.
Yeah. So it's been always challenging to maintain this work life balance right from the start of my career journey. you can say, because I like when you are like when I was pregnant, because our that obstetrician and gynecologist being it's not very easy job, because you have to give your 24/7 there. So when you are pregnant, we used to advise all the patients that okay, you take rest, do this, that, but we never used to get any rest because you have to be full time in the hospital. But again, at the end, after like you are through your pregnancy journey, then that empowers you. That means you are so active, you are able to take care of yourself so well. So that empowers you in some way. So you feel more confident again to in your profession. Then again, when you have small kids, when I had my son, so that time what happened, because you have to do night duties sometimes, so you have to, it's not easy always. So as I had already mentioned, like support system is very, very important. My husband and me, we both are actually quite busy. So sometimes it was there was a time when like we had to leave the kids with our caretaker. But then we were really worried because we were going out of the country. So what to do then? Like it was not easy, and he had fever also. Same night he had fever. So now what to do? So then we had some support system, like I had some friends in workplace, because they were very good with me. So I told them, can you please have a look? So then we have to ask for help and support. So it is very, very important that when you are working, you have to build good relationships everywhere so that they take care. And then again, family will be always there, but sometimes family won't be near you. Then you will need the help and support from your friends. And that is the thing. And again, like throughout the kids growing process, there will be school, some functions will be there, parent teacher meetings will be there. I am the always one who like I am the one who will never be going to any PTMs, only my husband will go. So sometimes I feel guilty. Some people will tell, oh, always you are so much behind your career. Some people will comment like that also, so sometimes it will hurt you. But again, at the end, like when in my profession, what happens, suppose you are treating a patient, then they become pregnant, when the happiness which you can bring to their lives actually, that makes a big impact. So you forget all your hard work, everything, when you see the smile in the face. Like last week there was a patient, like she wanted a normal delivery after a cesarean, and the patient is very so nice. So they will put all their hopes on yourself. So, and she got a normal delivery. When I came into the labor room, she was telling me, I said, how are you? She first line she told me is, Doctor, I'm so happy. In this pain, she's telling, I'm so happy that she went into labor. So after she delivered, the way she is grateful to me, so all my hard work, everything, like it, it's a tremendous
Feels worth
satisfaction you
it.
get. Yes.
Yeah.
So it is okay. Somewhere you miss out, but somewhere you gain. But at the end, finally, what gives you happiness, that is most important. So if you are happy with what you are doing, that is all it. So there will be challenges in life, but how you manage the challenges, how you plan out your things, and ultimately you should be happy with all those things. So that is my say to everybody, don't worry, just plan out your things, and challenges will come, but you can take care of those. Thank you.
Dr. Yasmin. Now moving on to Prachi ma'am, would you like to give your insights?
Yes. So, again, coming from a typical nuclear family, in a different city where have minimal or close to no support system. With twins, it was definitely a very hard journey. So I'm a chartered accountant, prior to being an IBCLC and things like prior to Snugbub, I'm a chartered accountant by education. And that time we had 3 months of maternity break, and my son was born at 1 kilo at birth. So, my always approach, if I reflect back, has been what is the need right now? And what am I enjoying right now? So I took a break, and I'm glad I took a break because, deep down, I know, healthcare was my passion. And, I just sort of navigated. They have seen me build, the community because, growing in a nuclear setup, again, it was a need for me to have a support system. That's how the community got formed. Once the community came up, we also are unschooling our kids. That's when, the community plays a very strong role. So I know I have somebody, to go to. I have a safe space. Then, as I was studying, I was studying for IBCLC, they were seeing me, oh, Mama also has her work. Mama also does this. And that develops a beautiful, they are learning through this. Like, we need to give space to somebody when they're doing something. which also makes them now say, okay, I am doing this, I need my own space. So this helps them mold in a way. So, the journey always has been about teamwork. What are your aspirations? What do you want to do? What, everybody wants to do, as I mentioned earlier. So the biggest challenge for me, of course, was childcare. So at times, yes, there were incidents when I would take them with me. We would travel together, if there's something where I need to travel. And, just sensitizing people around you. And, people understand that, many a times, women hesitate. How can I take my child to the workspace or, things like that. But if need be, it's okay, it's okay if you're not able to, if it's an urgent situation, you don't have a backup, talk to your workspaces, help them, sensitize them about the situation. And I'm sure, there's so many supportive people who will help you. Because after all, we are doing this together. We are making a difference in, each other's lives through our work. So you'll always find people to help you out wherever you are. You hit those speed bumps, of course, with the right support from your family, which is crucial, I feel. And then you feel less of a, the superwoman syndrome. You feel, yes, I know what I'm doing. I know what my support, what my strength and weakness is, and then work around it. So, they have seen me write books. They have seen, to give you an example, how to, manage, how to juggle. For example, there was a time when we thought, hey, you know what, learning self-defense is so important. Putting a child to say, karate class and saying, hey, you go to the class and I'm going to watch TV. Versus we said, hey, you know what, even that's a life skill. Even I would like to explore. Let's do this together. We all signed up for the class, which again, helped us satisfy tick so many boxes. And, this is how I think you learn to balance out things, where you need that chunk of time away in, just the me time or just the time when you cannot be with your family. I think
True.
that just helps you to navigate through the situation.
So true, so true. Thank you so much for your insights. I believe, Dr. Aruna, Dr. Yasmin, and Prachi ma'am, all of y'all have been a huge support today. And also your insights have been really, really an eye-opener for so many of us who are still juggling between our career, work, home, passion, and so many other hats that we don every day, right? So thank you, Dr. Aruna Muralidhar. Thank you, Dr. Yasmin Imdad. And thank you, Ms. Prachi, for, your time and, valuable inputs. Moving on, I would like to again remind our audiences, we have a Happiest Health Summit coming up, which is Happiest Her, a Women's Wellness Summit on March 16, 2024 at St. John's Auditorium, Bangalore. We begin at 9 a.m. And for y'all today, it's Women's Day. And we have a special coupon for Happiest Her Women's Wellness Summit that's only valid for today for our webinar audiences. The coupon code is 100HH, 100HH, and validity till March 8th, 2024. A happy Women's Day to all of you. Please log in to www.happiesthealth.com and register for the summit, which is held at St. John's Auditorium, Bengaluru, March 16, 2024. We have, a thank you. So we want to thank our panel members for their insightful knowledge that they shared. And thank you so much for the audience for patiently listening to the session. And I hope this was informative and also inspiring enough for all of you to manage your work life better. This webinar is supported by Kinder Hospital, Bangalore. With this, I am Dipali Malya, your host, signing off. Thank you so much. Thank you, panel members. Thank you, audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.